everybody, and welcome to our home here in Brittany in northwest France and our channel Frugal Queen in France, where we share our money saving, our thrifty living and frugality with all of you. If you're here for the first time, my name is Jane, my husband Mike is behind the camera. We're early retirees, debt and mortgage free, and we share our thrifty and frugal life with you. And every Wednesday we invite you into our home for a midweek money chat. So let's take a look at what we can have a chat about today. So just like the title says, this week's midweek money chat is all about 10 steps to a fabulously frugal lifestyle. Now you might be thinking like, well, how do those words go together? Because when you think of sometimes a fabulous lifestyle, sometimes you think of excess, unfettered capitalism and consumerism, big houses, speedboats, exotic foreign travel, cruises, swimming pools, posh clothes, fancy cars. And then you think of the word frugality and it's the polar opposite of that. So you might be thinking to yourself, come on Jane, convince me. How on earth do you live a fabulously frugal lifestyle? How do you live a fabulous life frugally? And this week I'm letting you into all my secrets, all the ways that we did it. So let's take a look at the first one. Save the big one for last, but I'm going to give you the big one to begin with this time. And it's all about having a fabulously frugal lifestyle. It's about your priorities. And let me explain that. In the world that we live in, it's so consumer driven. It's so money and stuff driven that you can actually, as a frugal person, sit on the sidelines and it's like the carnival procession passing you by. And like a carnival procession, it's all razzmatazz and noise and music and colour, and it does pass you by because it's just like this sort of fluffy entertainment that you see on the TV. It's not something that you have to involve yourselves in. You can have a look. And of course we do have a look. Of course we do. But we don't have to join in the parade. We don't have to get on the end of it with a trombone joining in. And it's a lovely, lovely feeling of relief. We're not consuming, we're not rushing out to buy the latest stuff. And that includes things like food. You would be surprised, and in your area, in your locality, in your country, they'll always be trying to sell you the latest food trend or the latest restaurant, along with the latest clothing trend or what you need to do for your house, or this season you should have in your garden. Look at the advertising. They're always trying to push you that parade, aren't they? And the lovely, most wonderful thing about a fabulously frugal lifestyle is you don't have to join in with that parade. You can sit back and just let it pass you by. Now, if you've watched any of our previous videos, you will know that as retirees, we live below French minimum wage. And that might sound to a lot of you like that's kind of precarious. And how do you cope if this happens and the if happens? One of the things that we do, that we have, that we share, that we encourage, we don't suggest it, we simply encourage, is to have a big emergency fund. Now everyone knows that you need to have a small emergency fund, 1 to 3 months of funds to live off to pay your bare bones budget and all your bills. It's best to have around 6 months, but it's optimal to have around 12 months. And when you do have those 12 months of emergency funds, and I may add this, they're not easy to save that amount. and your long-term savings month after month after month then becomes your emergency fund. So it's not something that just happens overnight. So don't want to impress that upon you. It isn't. But living a fabulously frugal lifestyle means that we can relax a bit, knowing that we do, like many frugal people, have a fully funded 12 months emergency fund. But I'd like to add something to this. As prices have gone up, as energy has gone up, car for our fuel has gone up, and food has gone up, we need to add on about the equivalent of a month to our emergency fund. So if you imagine our emergency fund was 120 euros, we would need to add a month to that. We'd need to add another 10 euros to it in its simplest mathematical forms. So having an emergency fund does add to a fabulously frugal lifestyle. It is something that is important to us. It does give us a little bit of peace of mind and a little bit of relaxation. But just as I said, we are adding to it because the cost of living has gone up. But hey, it has for absolutely everybody. Now, many people choose a frugal lifestyle because they're in debt and they've had that wake-up moment and they don't want to be in any debt anymore. And if that is you and that's your story right now and that is your journey, I absolutely want to applaud you for making one of the best decisions you are ever going to make in your life. If you are debt-free and you continue to be debt-free and you continue to live below your means, you will know the absolute benefits of that. And that is partly why we live such a fabulously frugal lifestyle. We became debt-free in 2011 and we haven't borrowed money ever since. We haven't added to any borrowings. For example, mortgage, we just continue to overpay it continuously all the time. And we don't borrow any money at all. And it is immensely satisfying and it just gives us such an incredible peace of mind. And like I said at the beginning about having priorities, for us, a big priority for us is calm and well-being and that sense of peace. And there is nothing more than that, is there? There is nothing better than that. And that really does contribute to our fabulously frugal lifestyle. The next thing I want to talk about or share with you about, one or the other, not quite sure, is increased and increasing creativity. Now, for some people, that's something that they don't want to do, they don't like it, and it's got that sort of feeling of make, do, amend about it. But those of us who've kind of absorbed this into our lives really know it has massive benefits for us. And it really does make us feel good. When I upcycle something, when I've saved something from the recycling centre, when I've made something for my house, it's a really good feeling of well-being for me that I've done something to help the environment in some way. When that parade goes by and I don't get my trombone out and I don't join in with that consumerism spending parade, it really does make me feel good that I don't have to worry about the latest this and the latest that. And it really does take a lot of pressure off me. But the other side about increasing creativity is actually making stuff, mending stuff, growing stuff. It keeps us busy, it gives us purpose, it gives us direction, often in a purposeless and a directionless life, where previously we've just been on this little hamster wheel, haven't we, of earn money, spend money, earn money, spend money. But when you get off that and you've got time to make stuff, to plant trees in your garden, to go rambling, to make your own fun and entertainment, to cook more, to eat more healthily and live more healthily, there's massive benefits from that. I can't speak highly enough about the benefits of having time for my health and well-being that's come out of just a little bit of creativity. So if you can increase your creativity, it will really lead to a fabulously frugal lifestyle. The next thing I want to talk about is the power of self-sufficiency. Now, that does not mean that you have to go and live like Grizzly Adams in the wilderness and build your own house and, slaughter your own deer or go fishing or any of those things. It doesn't mean that. Self-sufficiency is anything and everything that you can do for yourself instead of paying other people to do. And there are a multitude of things that people can do for themselves. So here are just some for examples. Like we don't have any central heating. The only heating we have is wood, and therefore we process all our own wood. Even if we had to buy wood, we would buy what's called green wood. We would then cut it down and split it. But there's so many other ways that you can be self-sufficient. Do your own home decorating and repairs. Those really clever people who can put up their own wallpaper. Then there's the people who can fix their own cars. Wow, those people who can change the oil and filters in their own cars, saving themselves loads of money, who can clip and groom their own dogs, who can cut their own family's hair. There is an example that where we live in our village, there's lots of people with big gardens, and it seems to be that there's like half and half. Half the people are paying people to come along and cut their grass, and half the people are cutting their own grass. We're part of the half who cut their own grass. We know it's a day a week of trimming and cutting and tidying our garden. Keeps us fit, keeps us busy, gives us purpose to that day. But all of those are elements of self-efficiency, even down to your own manicures or your own pedicures, or those people who colour their own hair. And some people are really, really good at those things. Making your own clothes, making your own soft furnishings, your own curtains, fixing things around the house, mending clothes instead of going out and buying them. All of those are elements of self-sufficiency. They give again, like the gardening, like the walking, like the studying, like the being creative. They all give real purpose to our lives. And like I said at the beginning, you don't have to join in with your trombone at the end of parade of consumerism, because you've really got those self-sufficient skills to live a fabulously frugal life. The next thing I'm going to share with you are the massive benefits of continuously being frugal, like all of the time, every day. Just do it and then keep doing it. Any of you who've been out there and read Atomic Habits by James Clear will know that concept of the aggregation of marginal gains. Now, as frugal people, we often get people giving us that kind of sideways glance of, how did you afford a new car? Or how did you afford a long arm sewing machine? Or how did you afford to retire? All of those things. And it is the aggregation of marginal gains. When you continuously live below your means, when you continuously save 10% of your income all of the time, suddenly you do amass savings. And it's the same way with everything about those aggregation of marginal gains. When you don't waste any food, when you always plan your menu, when you always stock check your cupboard, when you do that, you do keep your grocery, your supermarket spend to an absolute minimum. When you always turn the lights off, unplug things, don't use a tumble dryer, when you always do things that use less electricity, when the prices go up, and let's face it, they have done, you then find it easy to cut back because it's just something you always do. It's those marginal gains. when you're always careful with car fuel, that you wouldn't just go to one place to get one thing. You'll plan your journey of where you're going to go, what you're going to do. Every single little bit of this adds up. And we often sit back and think to ourselves, well, we could just not do that and it wouldn't matter. But actually, all of those things do matter. And then, when you've done that continuously all the time, as we shared with you in our video from Sunday, and we will leave the link to that video below, because we shared with you how we cope with inflation. And it's because of those aggregation of marginal gains, those little things that we do continuously, all of the time. And they do lead to that peace of mind that you get with living a fabulously frugal lifestyle. Now, if you're a regular to this channel, you'll know that Mike and I practice having an attitude of gratitude. It's a massive thing to us, and we like to share it to encourage a frugal lifestyle with absolutely everybody, because it is amazing when you look around. If you're sitting here now watching me, you've got the internet, you've got some device that you're able to watch the internet on, you've got the money to pay for the internet, you're sitting probably in a house watching it, you're probably sitting on furniture watching it, you're sitting wearing clothes that are clean and you're clean, and you've eaten today. And all of those things are something that we really focus on as frugal people. And we never see any of it at all as lacking anything or missing anything, because we really do look around at everything we have and realize that we have a very abundant lifestyle. I could open my fridge, there's food in it. Open my freezer, there's food in it. Turn on my tap, hot water, clean hot water comes out of it. Turn on the cold tap, pure, clean drinking water comes out of it. I can go upstairs and open cupboards and I've got plenty of clothes. I can walk anywhere I want. I can do anything I like. And that really does lead to a fabulously frugal lifestyle, because we really do need to remember all of those massive things that we have and not take them for granted. And I really do share that with people, of having an attitude of gratitude, because when you have that, you really realize how much you have and how little you need. Now, we share our frugal lifestyle all of the time, and we get lots of feedback about that. We get the one end of it saying, oh, I couldn't live like that, I couldn't go without this, and I couldn't go without that. And then we've got the other side of it, which is like the we're more frugal than you. We're far more frugal than you. We only eat lentils. You know, I grow my own lentils. You know, I forage my own lentils. So there's all of it in between, isn't there? And halfway down the middle of it, maybe we fit in there, but halfway down there, and this is something that we share with people and we encourage with people, even if you are on a frugal lifestyle, it's absolutely okay to have monetary goals that you're saving for. It could be a new car or a new to you car. It could be a house deposit. It could be your wedding. It could be you're saving up to take a maternity break and you need the money to live off. It could be that you want to take the trip of a lifestyle, or do something to your house, or build a garden room, an annex, or whatever. It is absolutely okay to have those goals. And it's all about that purpose and that focus and that get up in the morning, that reason to get up and keep going with your frugality. And it is okay. It's also okay to have frugality as a short-term goal. And some people can do that short-term, and that's okay. It's okay to do it for the rest of your life. It's okay to do it a little bit. It's okay to do it a lot. It's absolutely fine. but your goals keep you going. Our goals are just to have a bigger emergency fund, a new to us car in a decided period of time, and to do some travelling. But it is absolutely okay. It does contribute to that fabulously frugal life. It does contribute to you feeling that I'm not going without anything. I'm not being deprived, and it is all about your choices. Now, something we share with you on a very regular basis, and the phrase that I use for this is that we budget for sanity. And let me explain that. We budget for well-being. And I think you can sustain a frugal lifestyle, and you can sustain having goals and saving and turning out the lights and heating your house with wood and all of those things, if you can budget a little bit of money every now and then for things that bring you some pleasure. Now, when I share quilt making with people, I know at one end of the spectrum or the other, people go, oh, I couldn't do that, that costs too much money. And I have other people who say, well, no, I do it for next to nothing because I get all of mine from jumble sales. So there's always somewhere in the middle that you can be. Now, we always use this example. We could spend less on car fuel. We could just go out once a week and go to the shop and come home again and not use the car. But our budget for sanity is that we like to fill up the car with fuel every single month. And it costs us about €80 a month. We've got a different car now. I've not quite worked out how much it is to completely fill up that car, because I never like to leave a car have an empty fuel tank. That's not something I do. Anyway, because we budget for sanity, we know that we've got fuel in the car, that if it's a nice day, we can get in the car. Our thing that we really love to do is to drive to the coast. Drive along the coast, find some beach that we can walk along, some car park by the beach that we can park up in, that we can have a car picnic on warmer days, we can sit on the beach and those things. So there is something about sustaining that fabulously frugal lifestyle is budgeting for sanity. So you've got a little bit of money, and on one end of the spectrum or the other. And I really like to share this and say to you, there is nothing wrong with you budgeting for a takeaway if that's what just brings you some kind of peace of mind. And I always have this vision in my head of this single parent who's working in a hospital or working in care work or some really strenuous, demanding job where you're having to take on double shifts and work 60, 70 hours a week, and you really, really are working at your absolute breaking point. There's nothing wrong with you having a night out at the movies. There's nothing wrong with you having a pizza if that's in your budget, if that is just part of you budgeting for sanity. And not only do we share that, but we encourage it. My next point I'm going to call sticking to it. Sticking to it. Now, anything that you do on a regular basis that becomes, as James Clear would call, an atomic habit, anything that you've got that aggregation of marginal gains from, anything that you do on a regular basis gets easier and easier and easier. It's just a habit. It's just a part of your life. And it's like saving money, and you're doing it every single month, putting away a percentage of your income. You suddenly look at your bank account and your savings, and you start thinking, this savings pot is going to have to start to becoming an investment pot soon, because otherwise, what am I going to do with it? Paying off your mortgage all the time. Dave Ramsey calls it building wealth. As good as words I can think about it. You've got that lump of money. You've got it there. You've paid off your car. I know cars depreciate in value, but if you ever need ready cash, you've got it. You can always trade in your Volvo for a Mini, and you can just release that money. But any of those things that you do all the time, the more you menu plan, the easier you get it can be. I can menu plan by opening the freezer drawer and going, yep, 6, 7 meals in there, easy peasy, off the top of my head. Hanging out the washing, just getting it outside in the air. Any of those things, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So stick to it. You'll have more money, you'll have more peace of mind, it'll get easier, easier and easier, and I promise you, you'll be leading a fabulously frugal life. Now everybody has a different money saving or frugal journey. Lots of people do things very differently from us. We know lots of frugal channels share something that's very different in the way that we do it. But one thing we do like to share with you is our theory that everybody can do it their own way, and everybody's got their own way that works for them. So quite literally, each to their own, and you do you. Like I said earlier, nobody has to do what we do. We're a YouTube channel, we're not a cult. We don't expect you to believe what we believe or do what we do. Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video, one thing we do ask, go on, give it a like. The more likes we get, the more YouTube put our videos out there. If you're new and you're not a subscriber, come on, join in the frugal money saving family and make sure that you also hit the little notification bell. We love your comments. Do you live a fabulously frugal lifestyle? And there's something about that that gives you joy, that gives you purpose. Share that joy and purpose with all of us. Just leaves me to say on behalf of Mike and I, thank you so much for joining us with our midweek money chat. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.